Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, it's an absolutely gorgeous day out here, and yes, I am camping again. I wish you were here, but at least I can take you on my morning walk, and well, we can talk about a whole lot of news. So first on the docket, we're talking about PlayStation 3 emulation with RPCS3 and RPCN. Now, RPCN is the PSN emulator, and RPCN just got an update to version 1.3, and well, a whole bunch of games now are playable online. So here's the list of PS3 games that are now working with online net play. We've got Armored Core 4, Armored Core 4 Answer, Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit, Outrun Online Arcade, Ridge Racer 7, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo HD, this one's a big one here, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection, The Punisher No Mercy, Top Spin 3, and Wagon Midnight. And additionally, some online games now have fixed scoreboards like Crazy Taxi, Daytona USA, Gran Turismo HD, Hotline Miami 2, Ridge Racer 7, and Wrecked. In my opinion, this is a big win for PS3 emulation, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this update. RPCN is 100% free, it's open source, just like RPCS3. Next up, if you're a fan of Half-Life, if you're a fan of game preservation, if you're a fan of betas, you might like this news. So basically right now there has been a beta disc for Half-Life, not Half-Life 2, but Half-Life 1 that has been found is readable and is going to be preserved. So keep your eyes open on places like Hidden Palace and the Internet Archive, and maybe it's going to surface there. This is probably going to be a very big win for game preservation, and I'm very curious to see what's different on this beta versus the final game. Next up, we're talking about Intel. Now, I think it's no secret that Intel has had a pretty tough year. I mean, with the whole 13th and 14th generation CPU issues and all of the shenanigans surrounding the recalls and all of that. Anyways, here apparently, well, it's being reported that Qualcomm is trying to buy Intel. Qualcomm reportedly approached Intel about a buyout. I think that is absolutely insane. I didn't realize that something like that was possible. So these so-called rumors might have some weight behind them. I mean, they affected the stock market here. Oh, wow, that's weird with the light with my face. Anyways, Intel shares closed up 3.3%. Qualcomm shares fell 2.9%. Now, Intel has been around for something like 50 years or anyways, this is big if true. Deals are apparently at an early stage in conversation and negotiation or whatever's going on in the background, if there's anything going on in the background. And I think that's the big thing here. This is currently a rumor, but where there's smoke, sometimes there's fire. And for a rumor like this, well, that is pretty big, and I'm assuming there are multiple people that are close to this source. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. What would you think of Qualcomm buying Intel? What do you think that would mean for Intel chips moving forward? What do you think that would mean for Qualcomm chips moving forward? On a side note, and it's worth noting here, that Reuters says they could not determine how Qualcomm, which is a market value of $188 billion, would finance a bid for Intel, which is valued at $122 billion. And Qualcomm has $13 billion in cash. So it might be like a multi-year deal. Maybe it's just a huge stake in Intel. Who knows here? Anyways, they also say Qualcomm has never operated a chip factory. So, well, there's a lot of unknowns here, and this may fall through, or maybe it does turn into something. And last up here, we're talking about Valve, Proton, ARM, and possibly Android. And this could be huge if true, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And someone with a very keen eye noticed that Valve is testing an ARM version of Proton. Now, for those who may not be aware, Proton stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, and it's one of the biggest things to allow Windows games to be played on Linux, and like the Steam Deck. Now, this Proton compatibility for ARM CPUs, I'm assuming is for ARM-based CPUs and not necessarily Android phones with ARM CPUs on them. I could be wrong here, but at the same time, I don't think I am. But that would be huge if they did make Proton compatible with Android, if they did make Steam compatible with Android. It's not like we're going to be able to get God of War Ragnarok running real nice on a phone, but at the same time, Steam has a whole lot of indies that I think would be incredible on a mobile platform. So whether or not Steam games being playable on Android is something in the future, I think it would be crazy for Valve not to at least investigate it. I mean, there's an awesome market there. The Android market, even the iOS market is huge. And looking at it like that from a gaming standpoint, I mean, that would bring a whole bunch more gamers to the platform. Not everyone's got a PC, not everyone's got a Steam Deck. And this would be pretty awesome. I'm certain that developers and game publishers wouldn't mind their games being playable on more platforms. Let me know your thoughts about that one. But before I go on a tangent here, at the very least, I think having Proton compatible with ARM would be absolutely huge. I mean, I'm thinking about all of the ARM versions of Linux that are available out there, even the ARM version of Windows, and all of the PCs that seem to be being created with ARM chips in them. So this would be pretty big for gaming overall anyways, and with the environment moving forward, with a lot of people shifting to ARM now, not everybody, but a lot more than there used to be, this would be very big. Next up, if you're a fan of Gran Turismo 4 and a fan of game modding, you might be a fan of this news. So it turns out here that Gran Turismo 4 Spec 2 is out. Now this is a fan mod for Gran Turismo 4. It's a patch for the game, and well, it looks very promising and very interesting, and something I'm probably going to check out. So the description says Spec 2 is a mod which expands on the core Gran Turismo 4 experience, bringing a variety of fixes and improvements to the game. It is based on the NTSC version of the game, and taking a look here, there are a whole bunch of things that have been added, including a randomizer. On top of that, brand new cars have been added. You can now repaint cars in GT mode. There's new sounds for engines, there's new transmissions and tire skid sound effects, and well, everything looks really, really good here. This looks really cool. There's even UI improvements. So let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you still play Gran Turismo 4? Will you pick up the game now that Spec 2 is available, the unofficial fan mod for it that seems to add a whole bunch of stuff? And which Gran Turismo is your favorite on the PS2? Next up, we're talking about Twitch, and during TwitchCon, Twitch made a pretty big announcement about how they're going to be handling bans and stuff moving forward. Unfortunately, they didn't say anything about applying bans equally and treating everybody the same. I'm assuming there's still going to be preferential treatment and all of that nonsense that still exists, or at least still seems to exist on the platform. And they say here about bans, they're going to be much more transparent and send a snippet as to what exactly was the reason that someone got banned, as opposed to leaving people guessing. Now, I have been using the word ban, but this is supposed to apply to strikes and violations as well. And they will be appealable, which is a very big thing. Now, there's no date on when these are going to roll out, but hopefully it's relatively soon. And it's also being reported, or at least Twitch also said, that the strikes will expire after a certain amount of time, so they're not just going to linger on an account forever. In my opinion here, these are much needed forward steps for Twitch, and hopefully they continue to make improvements. And hopefully I feel they start to treat people equally moving forward as well, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but I could be wrong. And last up here, if you're in the market for a foldable phone and didn't want to spend a whole lot of money, the OnePlus Open is currently being reported as $400 off. And that is a pretty big deal for a very decent phone for gaming. I mean, under the hood of the OnePlus Open is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and it's got 16 gigs of RAM. Now, I generally don't like foldable phones, but at the same time, some people really like them. I mean, I'm worried about breaking the screen or getting dirt in the hinges. I mean, I camp quite a bit, there's a lot of dirt around here, and I'd be worried about wrecking the phone prematurely. If you've got a foldable phone, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. I know a lot of people like them for 3DS and DS emulation. And I don't think it's going to be cheap overall, even with $400 off, but I mean, foldable phones in general are pretty expensive. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. She's at home, safe and sound, absolutely fine. It's still a gorgeous day out here. Thanks for coming with me on my morning walk. The weather is warming up, and I'm probably going to remove my sweatshirt soon. Anyways, we talked about a bunch. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.